And hey, we're live. All right.
First time.
Well, there's nobody here except us, so
we thought we'd try this.
We thought we'd give this a shot. We've never done this before.
But we're snowed in.
We're snowed in. Snowed in. It's Virginia, so snowed in means we've got 5 inches of snow and some ice on top of it. But we're snowed in.
It's snowing ice.
It is a lot of ice coming down. Probably going to end up with a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch.
So we worked outside yesterday. There's no one here.
There's no one here.
So we're just talking to ourselves.
I don't know. I don't know what it does with this.
So what if someone can watch but they don't type? Or can you see them? You can see them if they were here.
Well, it gives people, it says 0 of 200. So there's nobody here. We'll give it some time and see if anybody joins in.
Or it's just you and me.
It's just us talking to ourselves. We could text some people we know and tell them to turn in.
So shouldn't you tell people ahead of time so that they?
I did. I told them 2 hours ahead of time.
Oh, you gave them 2 hours notice, but you didn't go.
It's also Sunday night and people are watching football. So.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, we'll see. See if anybody joins in.
My glasses. I'm not used to wearing these ones. Hey, wait, is there a person?
Nope.
Hey there. Hey, I'm here.
Oh, there is. Hey, there's somebody here. Andy Large. Hey, hello. You're the first people we've ever had on a live stream.
So where are you located?
See what they come up with.
Yeah, because we have a 30-second delay, so we can only see. We gave ourselves time to type.
I don't know if I can change the settings.
Yeah. Oh, there's another person. Well, we can't change it now, babe.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
So we put a 30-second delay on comments to come in because we've never done this before, and we don't know if we can keep up. So we're trying to figure it out.
But hey, we can see you guys.
So there's 4 people in here now.
So
3.
Alex, Andy,
and Hater.
And David Taylor.
Hi
from UK.
Hello from the UK. Hey, hello from Virginia.
Hey, across the pond.
Snowed in Western North Carolina, 12 inches. Wow, that's a lot for you guys.
And watching from Alberta. Aw. Thanks for being here.
That's cool.
Aw, it's great to see you guys here.
Elizabeth Bermuda says we're looking great. Thank you.
Well, we're snowed in, and we're just kind of trying this out and seeing what happens.
Yep.
We didn't really get to work today because
we couldn't leave here because I'm on call. So I've got to be available if somebody calls in, and the worse the weather gets, the more likely it is someone's going to call and ask me to do something for them. So
we're drinking tea.
Yeah, drinking tea and
we're
coffee.
Not drinking anything else. It's a strong tea, though.
Yeah, strong tea.
So hey, guys from Florida.
That must be nice.
And there's another person from England.
Alex Rainey's in England.
Oh, there's 2 people from England.
Yep.
And our Canadian friends.
Andy Large said they're getting 14 inches. Yeah.
Holy cow.
I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that we don't lose power like we did last time. So
we were without power for 4 days, and it was challenging. It wasn't impossible, and we were warm, but it just taking a shower felt amazing after 4 days of no electricity.
Yeah, that
was the main thing. And the dirty clothes were piling up, that's for sure. So we're all crossing our fingers too that we don't lose power, and that you guys don't lose power either. Let's see who else is here.
So the last few days, we haven't really been able to do much as far as the house build goes. The last couple of weeks, we got an electrician up there. I had some people ask if the electrician took the job, and yes, the electrician has taken the job,
which is great.
Which is fantastic because their references are great. I've seen some pictures of their work that were sent to me by one of their last customers, and the work looks fantastic. And they obviously know more than I know about getting the panels put together. So this is going to give us quite a boost and kick us forward. Probably save us 2 months.
So Wild Rose Dude, we're forecasted for 2 inches of snow tomorrow with freezing rain. Yeah, we're getting the freezing rain right now. We can hear it coming down.
Yeah.
So, yep. We hear you.
It's been for about 2 or 3 hours. We've had it transitioned over some. It was some nice, dry, beautiful snow, about 4.5 inches of that, and then the ice started coming down. So that's
Yep.
it is what it is. We can't really change it.
Oh, Elizabeth, hey, it's nice to see you too. Really nice. Oh, and thank you from Texas.
You got to read out what they say because other
Oh,
people
okay.
can't always see it.
Well, this is our first time, so we're learning. So Elizabeth says it's so nice to see you. Beautiful, lovely couple resting in for once. That's true.
That's true.
We did some work this, but
Yeah, we were out there
cool.
doing some storm prep this morning, just trying to salt the road, salt the driveway. We moved to a top of a hill, so we've got about 125, 130-yard driveway, but it has an elevation gain of about 75 feet over that, and it's a switchback. So if you don't have salt on there and you try to drive it when it's frozen, you're in for a ride.
So Marco writes, how much snow are they getting there? Cold as, in Chicago, suburbs. Yes, it's really cold. I've been to Chicago, and it is the windy city. And also, it's just great to see Marco because I read your comments all the time. So thanks for being here.
So we have forecasts ranging anywhere from 5 to 8 inches up to 12 inches, but it looks like we're probably going to be on the lower end with a lot of ice on top of the snow.
Somebody writes, build looks great. Enjoy that winter weather. I won't tell you, it's 70 in Arizona. Yes.
Yeah, that's Rich. Nice. Hey, Rich.
Oh,
how's it going?
Gosh. Hey, Rich.
Rich and I went to high school together, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to meeting Rich in person, actually.
Yeah, when we get this done, we'll be going out to Arizona, and they'll be coming out here. That'll be nice.
I see Rich's projects that he's always working on. Yeah, they look great.
So it's yesterday we were doing tractor work because I've been tied up in the house for the last week on a project for work, sitting on my butt, and I needed to get outside. I could take it. And I didn't want to be inside the house doing electrical work. So we were both in tractors yesterday working outside, and I think it was probably good for us.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to switch gears mentally, physically. Just doing the same thing sometimes just gets to you. Yeah. Even though it should be what we're doing. We should be finishing electric, but we're tired of pulling wires.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta cut some grass or move some dirt or something. It's just necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. 70 degrees in Arizona. Yeah. Oh.
So Rich is working also. You driving? I hope you're not driving to Texas.
I hope you don't come this way.
He's probably a loading dock somewhere getting ready to take a load and drive. So thanks for dropping in, Rich. Appreciate it.
What'd you just break?
I'm not really sure. We'll find out later.
That was my dish. So anyway, what things that we have coming up for projects?
Well, we're trying to get the electric done. We've got it's intricate because we have to connect the two sides of the house across the open area with post and beam, and there are no channels in the walls for electricity. So it's going to be a very industrial suspended conduit for all the electricity that goes from one side to the other to connect the main panel to the sub panel. There's also going to be I guess it's a corrugated conduit that we're going to use to go to feed all of the supplies for outlets inside the big main room that's post and beam.
So Carolyn writes, hi there from, how do you say that, Scotland? Aberdeenshire?
Aberdeenshire.
Aberdeenshire, that's a mouthful, in Scotland. Hey. Oh, Apollo, what did you get into? Yeah, that crash, that was him. That was all him.
That was me. Yeah, I knocked something. She had a little dish sitting up there that had all my memory chips for the computer, and I think I knocked them all over the floor.
I was trying to organize him, see how well that goes.
So Apollo just came by to see what was going on.
No, he had fun in the snow today.
Yeah, he was out there chasing the ball, losing the ball, but out
Yeah.
there.
We'll show you footage later. Will the power be pulled in the house soon?
Yes,
Dude,
yes.
yes. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
God.
So
So
ready to be done.
that will allow us to move on. It'll allow us a couple of things. The biggest thing is we'll be able to get the power delivered from from the power company, get the trench cut across, and get that tied into the house. That's going to require having the well line already put in. So we've got the well, we've got all the materials to put the pump in, and the line that goes from there to the house. So we'll have the line for the electric put in, and then about a foot above that, we'll drop the line in for the well, and all that'll get brought into the house at the same time.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
So Wayne Brown writes, when will the drawing get done?
So once that the electrical is done properly, then we call the drywallers who we talked to probably 6 months ago. So we'll have to work out any changes and things since then. We'll start getting the drywall.
So for a short time, we thought about doing drywall. It was a very short time. We realized, no, we didn't want to do the drywall. We don't want to pay for it really, but we don't want to
certainly
do it.
don't want to pay for it, but we have to. I think that's one of those things that it would drag on so long with us with the learning curve that it would be another year before we got into the house. That would take us, because you have to remember we only do this on the weekend most of the time. We'll go up there as it gets lighter, as spring and summer come. There'll be a lot of nights during the week that we go up there and we get into the house and do some work at night after our work day is done. But for the most part, it's a weekend project for us.
So we're fighting two things: money and time.
Yeah,
always
money and time.
Money and time. So we have to weigh both of them. Like, how much money is it going to be, and how much time?
Rich says that he's out by Lake Havasu. Said he was voice texting. So
that's awesome.
Will the power be pulled? Let's see. I'm trying to catch up here. Like some of the text that came in were a little, like they got a little jarbled.
A little delayed. And
Yeah.
I think there's another language that's going on there too, which is great. I really appreciate
that's one of the coolest things.
Yes.
Is how many people across the world have started following this. That's a really it's fascinating that you can be in one country on the other side, it's a completely different time zone, actually on the other side of the earth, and you're following somebody doing a project on the other side of the earth. And it's just a small, I mean, this is just a tiny little couple of people building something on the other side of the earth. So it's pretty neat.
And it's not just that, it's just all the well wishes that people have. I think everyone has some of the same desires, and it's just really interesting to see how people go about it. So we're doing it.
I think people can also relate to some of the struggle that goes on with it, because it's not easy.
That story of life, money and time. It's
money
so
and time.
True. It's
True.
So true.
Oh.
Do what you can. That's it. Yep. And then
You win. You definitely win. It was 18 degrees when we got up today, and we were outside. It was 19, so that wasn't. Barn. So we've been going back and forth, and it comes down to that same thing. It's the money and time. So we're looking at a barn design that we kind of stumbled across, and we think that we can build it ourselves much faster than the house build, because it's just it's all going to be stick built.
Plus our learning curve.
And we're
learned
much better at a
things.
lot of that stuff. We've got the tools. We know what needs to be done in a lot of these different areas, but we're probably going to start off and build about half the size of what we finally want on the barn, and we're going to build it so that it can be built onto on the end. So I think that'll probably happen just after we get moved into the house. We'll probably start working on the foundation for that.
We say all this and all our best laid plans, but we also thought we'd be done with this house build a lot sooner than we are.
A long time ago.
So we'll just see how it goes. We do need a barn because we're going to be storing all the tools in the house, like in an extra bedroom. Yeah. So that's a big push to push it into somewhere else.
And then probably corresponding to that, along the same time, we have to start putting some shelters together for animals because we intend to get farm animals as soon as we get moved on the land.
I want 3 donkeys, just 3
So
donkeys and some goats.
we're gonna have goats, donkeys, sheep. We're gonna start there. She's not so keen on the sheep,
I just
so
don't know.
but
We take it as it comes.
we don't want to overdo it and start trying to get too much going at one time. But we're definitely gonna have donkeys and goats.
So that house, in the middle of the house, there's this open area, and that's where we plan to put a courtyard. People keep asking us, "What are you doing right there?" So that we pour cement in front of the front doors, and then do a courtyard. And I want a little herb garden out there and a pergola. So that's coming too. We have a lot to do with the
Yeah,
build.
there's tons and tons of things that have to come along. So it's always, I think we're going to be finishing things in the house for a while, and then building things outside. And every time you get something like this where you're working on a project, I think as you're going, there are going to be some modifications made to things. We'll be doing stuff and then decide we either like it or it works, or that it doesn't, and we don't, and we've got to replace it and come up with something new.
But land management is always a thing for us too. So we
Yeah.
cleared from forest, and we have to maintain open fields and then the orchard. And so there's a lot of land management that we haven't been doing that we need to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of areas that we're allowing to return to forest, but the manner in which it goes back, we kind of have to manage that as well, because there's a lot of understory there that you have to manage so you don't have a high fire risk.
So we're on 54 acres. 54.
JB said, "Wishing you all the best this year on the build." Thank you. We need all the well wishes we can get. So,
I'm seeing your comments. Thanks for being here.
So yeah, it's 54 acres. We bought it in 2015. So we started clearing in 2016, and it's just been a whirlwind ever since.
But it's just because the weekends, like
Yeah.
the only time we have full-time jobs, and we're just.
And we were
going
living
about it.
about 130 miles away to start with.
So we're commuting here.
Fifth Journey, hey guys.
Aw. Really like watching your videos.
Yeah, and we correspond back and forth with Fifth Journey sometimes, just because he's building a lot of the same type of features into his house that we're trying to get into ours. And since I've seen his videos where I can see what he's done, and obviously he knows what he's doing, it gives me an opportunity to ask some questions. That helps out a lot. That's another one of the things about YouTube that I love, is that people have been so free and giving of their experience and advice on a lot of these things.
Oh, Marco, donkeys, no horses. Lamb tastes good. Yes, it does.
It
That's
does.
true.
Lamb is very
I
good.
just don't know about how to raise them. So we'll see. Might be less expensive to have a pole barn built.
Pole
We're
barns
thinking about
are
that.
crazy expensive around here.
Mm.
They are ridiculously expensive. It's been when we looked at it, and this was before all of the price increase from COVID. A 40 by 60 pole barn, the quotes we were getting in were about $80,000. That is just too much. I mean, they were really nice, like extraordinarily well made pole barns,
And
but
they're beautiful.
very pretty.
Barns are gorgeous, I have to say.
But that's a lot of money.
So David was talking about that barn. When we commute back and forth between Breakheart and here, we see this barn, and the design is such that we think we're going to try it. We think we are.
It's actually someone built I guess you call it a barn-dominium, and they built onto it. And the way that they built onto it, I stopped by one day when they were coming home from going bike riding, and just asked if I could have a look at it. And I took a bunch of pictures of it. And just the way that it's put together, design-wise, it's simple enough and strong enough structure that I think that we should be able to build that, and we should be able to build that. Given the things we've already done, I think we can put something like that together in a reasonable amount of time.
So donkeys, no horses, it's because I think donkeys are a little more rustic and just Oh, they're cute. They have personality. So do horses, I'm sure, but I have no experience with horses, and donkeys seem like a good choice. Plus, donkeys are guard animals for your goats and your sheep. So
Yeah,
that's the reason for the donkeys.
they have a reputation of being pretty fierce with any kind of predators that come on.
Yeah, when you Google them and watch a donkey, a guard, it's pretty fierce.
Mario Michael just had one put up 2 years ago, 33,000 for 42 by 70. Yeah, I'd have jumped all over that. If we could have had something like that around
Oh,
here,
that's
I would have
awesome.
definitely jumped over it.
That is awesome. But
Fifth,
we may need to talk about this because
yeah.
if you have some ideas, maybe
Fifth Journey said, yeah, that said, wow, that's that's expensive for a pole barn. It is. It really is. And but I looked into some other options as well, looking at all steel buildings, and those were going over $100,000 to have it put in. So, I mean, part of it is the area that we're in. It's expensive real estate, and because of that, with a building boom going on here, it's difficult to get people to work. They get top dollar, and that's top dollar.
I'll be building one soon. This is Fifth Journey. I'll be building one soon since the barn became the house and I have no workspace. Yeah, he doesn't either. And
Yeah, I
now we
don't.
have we don't have a place to put the tools either.
No,
So,
I definitely need a shop. I
yeah,
need a place to do my projects where she's not going to be giving me a hard time about my projects sitting around.
we have more tools than anything else. We own more tools than anything
You
else.
can't have a farm without tools.
Yes, but you need a house. You have to live somewhere.
Yeah.
So I hear you on this. I'm sure your wife would appreciate a barn.
Until she takes it over for some sort of workspace and you have to build another one. I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping up with the messages that have come in.
Which is why you keep seeing it. And this is our first time, so we're
Yeah,
not very smooth.
we've never done
We're
this
not
before,
smooth.
so we're doing the best we can on this. We're learning as we go.
Mennonite several years ago.
For 24 by 40 for 15,000. How many years ago was several years ago?
We're still gonna price things.
Yeah, we're pricing everything. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Ken Bauer says, hello all, Ken here from Petersborough, Ontario, Canada. Here around midnight,
Yes.
Sunday to Monday morning, I'll be waking up to a winter wonderland, following you since erecting the beams. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thanks for that, Karen.
I was looking back over some of the older videos, and I was shocked by a couple of things. One thing is I look back at some of the things that we did, and I can't believe we did them. And the other one is I can't believe how long ago it was that we were putting those beams up.
And just cringy moments.
Well, yeah, there's that too. I mean, that's just like this is the first time we've done a live stream. I didn't know anything about shooting video or editing video when we got started with this, so. And I think it still shows a little bit, but we've been working on it.
Much better. I don't do any editing. I don't do any. What do I do for video? Nothing for videos, and usually I'm pretty shy around the camera.
So for most of what we shoot, almost everything is shot on a couple of GoPros. So
Bev
Elliott says hello from West Virginia. Hello,
neighbors.
West Virginia, our neighbors.
So Bev, are you getting hit by the snow as well? I'm sure you are. Maybe not as much though, because the weather pattern.
I think they're still getting some of it. I think it's coming up. It's certainly heading up to Pennsylvania, going across the valley.
So right now we have the floor done. We have plumbing pulled. We have electricity almost done. We pulled most of the wires. We're getting that hooked up. Then comes the drywall. We're going to do the cabinets ourselves. We're having those shipped in, and then we're going to do the cabinets.
We're going to do ready to assemble cabinets.
We are planning on gas. Good.
Fifth Journey was asking what program we're using to edit video. I have a MacBook Pro I've had for about 5 years, and I use iMovie, and that's it's as basic as it could be. It's just
But yet people still watch, which is amazing to
Yeah.
me, and they still comment, and they still give support, and they still give the thumbs up, and we really appreciate it.
Money London said hi from Germany. Hello from
Hi.
Germany.
Hello from across the pond.
Yeah. I lived in Germany. Spent a year. I was over in Heidelberg. Loved Heidelberg.
Well,
So.
it's beautiful. I've never been there, but Germany's beautiful.
All John Deere, no cattle said, great job, you two. Hello from West Michigan. I guess that's MI, Michigan.
Yeah.
We built our shop first, and we'll be starting on the house in April. We built ourselves as well with SIP, and we'll be
Wow.
doing the house the same. Hey, that's awesome.
That is
And
awesome.
you're doing it the smart way by doing the shop first, because you cut your teeth and you learn what you need to do to make those SIPs work together and assemble them, instead of us getting like 3/4 of the way through the build before we figured out some of the things that would have made it a lot easier to get those together.
But we needed a house first. We did. We still need a house.
We still need a
Still need a
house.
house. We're in the area, but we don't have a house.
We're getting
renting.
there.
We're renting a house. So Bev Elliott, Terry and I here in West Virginia are getting snow while watching you. We already have 2 inches. How many inches do you think we have right now?
It was 4 when we started getting ice. So I'd
Yeah.
say about 4, 4.5.
Now it's just raining the ice.
Yeah.
It's not an official. So Mom says it's not an official video without you looking into the camera. That's about all I do, actually. About all I do.
That's not all she does to me all the time.
I do, and then I wink as I move the camera. That's about it. That's my one trick I got going for me. So hello from Denver. This is Diana Berg. Sorry. We had a high of 61 today. This weather is crazy. I've been following you since you started framing the interior rooms.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow.
Thank you so much. You're one of the early adopters. And it was.
G. Newton, who I read all the time. Hello, it's Bruce here in Mason, Michigan. 20 degrees. Not snowing.
So far so good. The power hasn't gone out. We did a lot of storm prep. We went up yesterday when we were leaving the land. We loaded the truck up with firewood to make sure we have enough firewood. Filled the tanks with gas. We've got the generator downstairs. I was supposed to do an oil change on the generator this morning. I didn't. I have the oil just in case. Hopefully we won't need it. But we are all tucked in. We've got the house warmed up just in case we lose power. I'm hoping it won't be for long if we do.
Yeah, because last time it was 4 days. He had to wash my hair for me with a tea kettle. It was rough. So Douglas Hagen, 37 degrees, even here in the panhandle of Florida. Are planning on staining the beams. Yes, we are.
No, we're not.
Well, we're actually, so it's not a stain as such. It is. Well,
it's a wax. I think it's a wax.
It's not really a wax either. It's kind of like an oil. It's an oil treatment.
We know what we're using.
It's Rubio. So we were going to do Rubio, which is all natural.
We went through a lot of testing of different stuff for the beams before we came to an agreement on something.
And we haven't done it yet, but we're going to. So I was at first, I was going to do a whitewash on the beams, and he's like, no, and he was right. He was so right about this. So we're going to keep it as close to the natural wood that it is, and just kind of.
It's a sealer, and it's kind of like an oil or a wax. It's probably an oil.
Yeah,
but it's a
oil.
sealer. It'll darken it a little bit, but it'll have a very natural look to it.
Yeah, and we just want to condition the beams so they stay. Those beams still draining sap and moisture.
They're still drying. They were fresh cut when we had them delivered.
But those beams are a huge feature.
Fifth Journey says snow hit here yesterday. It's just cold now. Yeah, I bet it's cold up there all the time.
And how do you say his last name?
Boucher.
Can you do ice fishing in your pond? So the pond hasn't really froze over. It's got ice.
It had a little skim of ice on it yesterday when I got there, but not much.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever freeze over here.
Not enough for ice. Well, you were standing. I got pictures of you standing on it.
I did stand on it, but how long? It's not.
That's probably 3 years ago.
If you cracked that ice, I would go right through.
Yeah, it was about 3.5 to 4 inches thick.
Yeah.
So I was getting a little nervous because she kept walking a little further out on it. So she was out too far for me to do much to help her. So um,
I would have swam.
you can't do ice fishing here. If you had like a really shallow pond, you might be able to ice skate on it sometimes. But that year to year, it depends. I mean, when I was a kid, I can remember being out on ponds all the time, and that was in Northern Virginia. And it that probably we probably haven't had that kind of a winter here in 10 years, maybe 15.
No. So in high. Oh, so
Thompson Station, Tennessee. So Diluted Reality 89 said hi from Thompson's Station, Tennessee.
I have to
Thompson
look that
Station.
up.
Yeah, we're gonna have to look that one up, find out where that is. Hello. Douglas Hagen said, wife and I are in the final design stages for a post and beam with
That's
sips.
awesome.
Still trying to decide tongue and groove or drywall for ceilings. That's a hard one.
That is hard. So time and money comes down to time and
Time
money
and
for us.
time and money.
So we're gonna do drywall on the ceiling just to keep it. For one, those beams, we have so much wood in there that I think doing more wood would take away from the beams themselves. So, and I just want it to be bright and crisp in there. So we're gonna do drywall and paint it white.
With the black floor,
Mhm.
we think that the contrast of the white walls, the white ceiling, the beams, the floor is going to look really good.
And modern,
Yeah.
very simple. And just so the trim around the windows, we're just gonna keep it really simple. We're doing the trim around the windows. We're gonna drywall and I have no idea how to do this, but I guess he has an idea of how to do the windows.
Yeah,
But
we can do the windows. That's not a problem.
I saw some Pinterest today that I thought was pretty cool.
And she saw
windows.
Pinterest, so
Yeah.
there's that.
We'll see.
Diluted Reality 89 said it's 30 minutes south of Nashville. It's 31 degrees Fahrenheit here, and we got a few inches of snow here too. Oh, well, congratulations. Welcome to the fun.
So I think, did it pass then? It sounds like it passed.
Yeah, it sounds like it's already gone through.
Over. So we can hear the ice outside. It's still kind of raining this ice.
It's supposed to keep going here till about 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's projected to switch over to rain for a little while and then back to freezing rain. So who knows what it's going to bring.
Oh, this is my favorite question. Bev Elliott says, what would be your estimated time on finishing your house? Well, that has all changed over and over again. So we've had estimated times and broken them, and an estimated time and broken it.
Yeah, we just we are moving this calendar year. That come hell or high water, we are moving this calendar year. We're renting this place right now. Our lease ends toward the end of the year, and we are moving into our house one way or another.
I need a flushing toilet, that's for sure.
With a flushing toilet.
Yeah, before I move.
There you go. But we're definitely going to make that happen. Joshua Knighton says, hey. Hello, Joshua.
So one thing we met at we ran into an older couple the other night, and they were telling us, they built their house and it took them 3 years, and somehow that made me feel really good because that it would be about the time frame.
That'd be about on par with what we're doing.
It would have taken us 3 years to do this, and we thought we were going to move in this house in 1 year. 1 year, because our daughter we thought she was going to live with us.
Before going to college.
But now she's in college and she's out on her own. So that's how our mindset was when we started this.
We thought that the SIPs were going to make it easier. Well, it did make it easier, but we thought that it was going to make it so much faster that we were going to be able to get in there. We figured the construction of the SIPs part was going to take maybe 3 months, and it took a year.
Yeah,
more than a year.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was a lot of that was it's one of those things that just kind of drags. Like you just every time you go up there, you just jump right back into the same old thing and just keep going. But part of it was we just didn't know what we were doing.
And life was coming at us. We still had teenagers, just things in life that were going on with us. Just recently, our daughter got over Rocky Mountain spotted
Yeah,
fever, and
she
if
was
you've
very sick.
ever read that, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So just things like those just stop you. They slow you down.
There were a lot over the course of a month, over the course of a couple of weeks. There were several times that Jafana had to drop everything and go get her and take her to the emergency room. And
well, we didn't know what it was.
nobody knew what it was, and they had not tested for it. So that made it even more difficult. And it wasn't until recommendations from some people online told me that we should start looking for things for Lyme disease, because it could be some sort of tick-borne thing, that we told them to test for everything tick-borne, and they discovered it.
Well,
But
yeah. So that was from you.
that was from the Tractor website.
Wow. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. She's
And
doing
some
a
of
lot
those
better.
folks also watched the video. So, I mean, like the doctors just did not know. And all you got was emergency room treatment. And then when they say you're not dying tonight, you've got to go. You got to
Yeah.
leave. You're not being admitted to the hospital, even though they don't know what's happening. And it was very obvious that her health was degenerating badly.
Really fast.
Really bad.
Really fast. It was pretty scary there for a while. So
Yeah.
just things like this, they just slow you down. Life just happens.
Definitely comes at you.
You just keep going. So where are we?
Gary Boucher said we had -36 all week in New Brunswick, Canada. Yeah, no thank you. That's too cold. That's too cold. Sue Sharp said, enjoying watching you build the house. I built my own place myself, enjoying seeing someone else work instead of me.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
That is
awesome.
Really inspiring. And I think that's part of the reason doing this. You just feel, you hear from so many people that did amazing things, and it's really inspiring.
You find out that there's a lot more crazy people out there than just you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a nice thing.
And what they do with things, the materials they have, the time they have, and the money they have. It's inspiring. So Mario
Eichel said, David, when Jafana stops by the camera and winks, does it crack you up when you edit? So the first time that she did it, yeah, I was like, what the heck just happened? Because I was fast forwarding through it and kind of scrubbing through the video real quick. I was like, what was that? And I went back. And so now I have to be on the lookout for it to make sure that I don't edit it out by mistake. Because sometimes there'll be a long period of dead space, and then all of a sudden she steps in and winks in the camera and she's gone. So I've got to try and make sure I don't get rid of it.
I give them a few to choose from. And it was somebody who said once when I was moving the camera, they said, give us a wink next time. So whoever said that, that's what started the winking.
Fifth Journey said, when will you get the power?
Oh my gosh.
Get power on the build. Thoughts on going solar. So the thoughts on going solar are cost and reward, and reliability. I mean, there's that as well. So when we moved up here, I had the expectation that it was going to cost us about $10,000 to $15,000 to get power up. And when I had somebody come up from the power company and walk it with me, it fell within the measurements where they could do it based on what the expected usage was and what their payback was going to be. And it was very inexpensive. It was almost nothing. That made the decision for me. We had a camper on site at the time, so I was able to get them to pull the power up for the camper. And that camper is it's gone now, but that where they put that temporary pole is only about 50 meters from the outside edge of the house. So another 5 meters puts us over to where it's going into the house. It's just very easy. It's right there. It's not going to cost us anything more except I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't think there's no additional cost that's going to be for them to connect it from there to the house. If there is, it's going to be minimal. Everything we would have to do, this gets us on the grid and gives us power. Solar is just such a big expense that you got to look at how long does it take to get your payback on there.
But that doesn't mean we're not looking at.
Yeah, we're still looking at it later on. We're looking at windmills. We're looking at solar, just things for more reliability, because we are far, like we're on the grid, but we're at the very end of the grid up here. We're up in the mountains.
And we're we're still using passive heat, like a lot of passive
Yeah.
heat to heat this house
Yeah.
with all the windows and the SIP paneling. So energy efficiency has always been on our mind when we built this
Yeah.
house, or
Absolutely.
and from the architect who designed it. But we are not on the off-grid sort of thing. We're just less grid. It could just be less grid.
Bev Elliott said, Terry and I have been watching since you started on the house. We enjoy watching you. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it, folks. We're amazed. We really are. Like when I started the channel, I thought that it would be a good way for people to see when we eventually have products to sell from the farm that we really are a mom and pop kind of shop, that we did everything ourselves and built it all ourselves. Because you see a lot of places where there's a brand that somebody comes up with that looks like that, but in reality there was a lot of funding that came in behind it expressly just to generate that image, to sell that image. And I wanted to be able to show people that we really were doing this ourselves. And I didn't expect that it was going to grow the way it did. So, I mean, it's still, we've only got about 6,500 subscribers, but we are getting more and more views. And it's like every time we hit a new number on something, I'm shocked. I'm just like, I can't believe that people are watching this. Why would you watch me swing a hammer and well, you can't hear me cuss because I edit that out, but
I hear it.
yeah, she might hear it.
I also think that just this project, our kids are seeing us work and do this. We have 5 kids together, and they're seeing that we are doing this on all our free time is doing this. Our grandkids will be able to tell our grandkids, yes, we built this house. This was us that built it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing for us to have that kind of inspiration. And
so let's see. I think that's I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know. Someone said, you all keep the rest of us motivated in our own projects.
That was Rich. Thanks, Rich. Aww. RC Simmons, 85.
Oh. All John Deere, no cattle. The balance. Go ahead.
The balance for us was to hire subs for things that could happen during the day, and that we would start late afternoon each day. I know you choose not to spin that way, but it kept us sane. Oh, it would keep us sane. Honestly, there's a lot of times when we would have liked to hire somebody. It just isn't in the budget. I mean, it's just not. We had a specific amount of money that we knew we could spend, and we knew we could buy the materials for the house we wanted, but we could not afford to pay somebody to build it for us.
Just going into debt. We're trying really hard not to go into debt.
So before we bought the land and everything, I had a house and the house was paid off. We were debt free. So buying the land put us in debt, and building it, we've had to go back. Recently, I had to go back and get a loan because we ran out of money. But having the things that we did and having that mindset of trying to live debt free and acquire things put us in a position so that we could actually do this. And it makes it possible for us to do this knowing that we're probably going to have this paid off within 10 years. So before retirement, everything will be paid off. The farm will be paid off. But until then, it's, we're just like everybody else. You got to go to work to pay your bills.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. Paulie Down Under said, love your build. You've inspired me to be an owner builder using SIPs. I too love views and have a view of the city and the bay from Melbourne, Australia.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, I bet that's gorgeous.
I bet it's really gorgeous.
I'd like to go as Australia. I'd like to hit New Zealand someday too.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Read Herbert.
Hubert
Dougherty.
Did you consider other systems besides SIPs? I used SCIPS, concrete skins, and foam core.
Gosh, that's awesome.
I don't know. Oh, SIPs. I'm sorry. I thought it said SCIPS. No, it does say. I used SCIPS. I'm not sure what those are. I'll have to look that up.
We need to look that up.
So we started off with the concept of doing a container home.
Yep.
That was the first thing we were thinking about. We were looking at container home builds online. looking at all the different ways that people were doing them at the time.
Some cool designs, really cool designs.
Very cool designs, but a lot of them, to get the kind of feel and features that we wanted, the materials you had to add on to it really kicked up the cost of it. We had an architect looking at different ways to do it, and when we started talking about the different things that we wanted, there were limitations that were brought about because of the containers themselves. And so we decided to start looking outside of that. I had been looking at SIPs buildings for years, but I had never really considered building one myself. My brother had talked to me about it probably 20 years ago, and kind of got that bee in my head. And so when we were looking at different materials that we could use, I went back and looked at the SIPs, started doing a little bit more research, and found out that for our implementation, it might really work well.
And since we started this and did this, there's new designs and SIPs that look a lot easier to put together.
New designs, and there's also lots of new building materials out there too.
Yeah.
There's the Zip Systems has an insulated panel that you can use. That's not a SIP panel, but it's it's a pre-insulated building material that would make a stick built insulated, or in theory would make a stick built insulated very much like a SIP. So, there's a lot of different things that just, those weren't there when we
Yeah.
started building. Like
Yeah.
that didn't exist.
But we're really encouraged right now because even with winter and
Oh,
we
yeah.
have the stove is the only source of heat right now, it's amazingly warm in there.
I went in there yesterday, and the temperature, it had been down in the teens overnight, and the low teens, like 13 degrees. And when I got in there, it was 48 degrees in the house, and I got there early in the morning. So that was the low, and I've got a thermometer up there that keeps track over the last 24 hours, 48 hours, and then all time that we've had it up there. And that was the coldest that house had been since I'd started that thermometer up there. So that's very encouraging, because it lets us know that it's not going to take a lot for us to keep the house warm. And I'm hoping that means it's not going to be a lot for us to keep the house cool.
So it stands for Structural Concrete Integrated Panels.
Okay.
Very
So
cool.
it's got a foam core and a concrete skin.
We gotta look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That sounds like you
I mean, it's a
almost,
little late now, but
like you could almost like for your siding material, it sounds like
you
you
could
might,
just paint it.
yeah, you could paint it, or you could,
Using a hardy board, which is
Yeah.
cement
yeah.
composite.
And I like the hardy board a
I
lot.
do.
It's just,
I like the look.
it's taken a while. It's been a bit of work.
So I think that is one of my most fun projects of work, is the hardy board, putting up the siding.
Yeah.
Just because it's instant change.
It absolutely changes the way it looks.
Once you paint that, you can just see what it's going to look like, and it just changes the whole look.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to start putting the battens up, because that's going to be amazing. So we're going for that farmhouse industrial look that is just kind of like a low maintenance, less time, no fuss kind of look.
And that was one of our things when working with the architect, was that we wanted to make sure that the materials we were using were going to be things that didn't require a lot of upkeep afterwards.
Yeah.
So that we could focus on the farm and getting out there with the animals and with the trees. And I don't want to be up there constantly having to chase things down and paint stuff and treat wood that's rotting and stuff like that. So I wanted to make sure that what we had is stuff that's just going to last.
So energy efficiency, the look was the right thing to do, and then just
Fire resistant,
low maintenance.
We wanted stuff that, like, if there was a forest fire or something, that it's not going to pick up an ember and start burning.
B. Newton, I recall seeing a small shed on your property. Are you thinking of buying a shop or pole barn when the house is done? Bruce.
So we were talking about that just a little while ago. We're going to start building a barn as soon as we get moved to the house. We're going to start building a barn that we can build onto.
But there is a little shed, and
there is.
I call it my she shed, because it's going to be the orchard shed where I put all the tools and all the implements for the tractor and that type of thing down there. But we still have to put a door on it.
Yeah, we still have to put the door on it. So we chased we chased the mice and the bats out of there, and then we didn't put a door on it. So I'm sure we've had some move back in, but
But it
we
has
will.
siding.
It has siding, so we will be getting back in there. It's just it's the constant struggle of time, always
Yeah.
moving from one thing to another.
And it's not big enough to be really a barn. It's really just going to be a shed for the orchard.
Ken Bauer said there are no F-bombs, just ducks. Yes, there are lots of ducks. We have ducks all the time up there on the land.
Yeah.
Fifth Journey said you're easy to watch, and we see all the F. That's why Ken Bauer said there are no F-bombs, just ducks. Yeah,
Just read his lips.
yeah.
Especially when he cuts something wrong. I think that sounds
I hate
like the
wasting
worst.
materials.
Yeah, but we haven't had a lot of waste. We'll show you the pile of our waste.
Yeah, it's
material.
actually we've done really
It's
well with what
really
we produce
small.
for trash. So
And there was a couple times where we broke the siding panels that I was so mad because those are really expensive. Just one panel is how much right now, babe?
$75.
Yeah, so you think about it, you're breaking $75 in one, or
Yeah.
you cut it wrong, and that's $75.
Yeah,
But
that's gone.
we've pretty much used
We've been able to
all
hang
the
on to most of
pieces,
it
yeah.
though, and use. We haven't wasted a lot. There hasn't been a lot of waste.
And we only have 2 little places left, or actually 4 little places left to do the siding.
Yeah.
And then we'll be done. We're just waiting for the weather to get so we can get on
It's
a
not that
ladder.
little, but it doesn't seem that little when it's up high. But yeah. Eric Ratliff says you are great. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Diluted Reality says, what are the minimum inspections that y'all need to pass before you can move in? Everything. Everything.
We've had inspections.
Yeah,
though.
we've had inspections, but that's to move in. What do you have?
Oh, yeah.
You got to have everything.
Yeah.
In our county, it has to be a fully functioning house. It's you can be walking on plywood if you're putting in hardwood floors later. They don't care about that, but you've got to have your bathrooms have to be done. You've got to have a place to wash dishes, cook, refrigeration. You've got to have heat. I don't think they require you to have air conditioning, but you definitely have to have heat.
But we're hoping that we only have to have one. We need to check, but we're hoping we only have to do one bathroom, just because of cost.
Yeah, if we can do one bathroom and get moved in, then that would allow us to save money on the rent, and we can put that toward getting the other bathrooms fixed not long after we move in.
Yep.
What calls me so should the cattle just paint? Just paint. So it says just okay. So Hubert says just paint for the cement siding. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
I gotta look that up.
That's what it sounded like. That you could just paint it. That would be fast, efficient, and probably the look we were going for. Good job. Good job.
Did you get a construction loan? If so, how hard was it to get one without a general contractor build manager? So to start with, no. We did not get a construction loan until recently. Very recently, we went and got one, and it has been a lot of hoops to jump through. I'm not gonna say it's been a nightmare because it hasn't been that bad, but getting it, most banks don't want to do it. We go with Farm Credit. Farm Credit works with people who are building their own stuff because they deal with a lot of farmers. But in order to do these things, you have to have insurance companies involved, and the insurance companies are sticklers on a lot of this stuff. So they want to do a lot of research for this stuff to find out what you're doing. You have to have inspections, and that's why we just went through an inspection a month ago so that we could get our next draw on the loan. And we're still dealing with providing them with documents and things that they need to get to that next draw, because the bank was involved when we closed it. We got our first draw, and with that money, you've got to show that you actually did the things that you said you were going to do, and that you don't owe anybody any money. So it can be done. You just have to find a bank, usually a smaller bank or something that's associated with agriculture or that sort of thing. It can be done. You got to do a little bit of work and then looking to find those banks.
But most of this house was cash flowed.
Yeah. And that was, again, that's goes to the whole thing of why, when people say, well, why don't you just hire somebody to do that?
Yeah.
And it was because we wanted to be able to pay for the house and not owe a lot of money when we were done. That would allow us to have a house that we want. I mean, this is our dream house, and
Yeah.
it gives us the ability to build a bigger house, um, that has some features that we kind of wanted to put into it that were a little, maybe not as normal as what, not mainstream. So there's no way that we could afford a post and beam house if we had to have somebody else build it for us.
This is true. So, babe, can you read that right there?
Jorge Ramirez, did you get a construction loan? Okay,
No,
that's
we
who
did
was
the
asking. Okay.
so and then it looks like Russian. So hello to our Russian friends.
Yep. Hello
And
in
then
Russia.
below that, babe.
That's brutal. I can see why so many people are building in places like Idaho. Yeah, if you don't have
Mm,
the big, so the big thing about the inspections is you want to make sure you're building to the bare minimum, because the inspection is holding you to the bare minimum of the building code. The building code is based upon what is safe. Sometimes they go a little overboard on some of the things, and depending upon the inspector you get, they can be pretty tight and sometimes reasonable, sometimes unreasonable. I think we've been very lucky, and the county inspectors who we've dealt with have been very reasonable and extremely helpful. So I haven't had any of the nightmare experiences that I've heard people talk about, and I'm crossing my fingers that it stays that way. Love the fact that you did video and saw how Jafana was warmed to the idea. This is a huge commitment. I just did photos on TBN. Not sure
oh
I
my
could
gosh.
keep on the videos and build.
It's hard. Well, he does all the editing,
Yeah,
and we
it
were talking about this.
it
He does
does
all the
take time,
editing.
but there are times when we're doing things that I don't like, and sometimes the biggest motivation is, well, this sucks, but at least I'm going to get a video out of it. So it's kind of a balance in there. It does take additional time. It also, though, lets you look at the way you're doing things that you
Yeah.
would not be able to see with just pictures. So that's really helpful.
And you get great advice most of the time.
Yeah, you get really well. You're going to get advice. It may not always be great, but you're definitely going to get advice and comments on what you do.
One of these days, we're going to read the comments that we get that are not so
Yeah,
encouraging.
we're thinking about doing one of those videos where we read some of the mean tweet kind of comments that we get. We get some crazy ones.
That's true. So read George
How many
Ramirez.
power poles to power up the home? So power
Mm,
poles. How many power? I'm not sure what when you're saying power poles. Are you asking like how much voltage is it going to take, or how many poles to reach the house?
So it's an
Yeah,
underground,
we have buried cable coming up to the
which
house.
is really nice because in this last snowstorm, we saw what happens
Yeah,
when you have power lines that are above the ground. They get knocked out. So right now, and then we already have the box, the main box that's right by the house to hook up to.
Fifth Journey Off Grid said we had one inspection, and he was here 5 minutes
Oh my
tops.
God.
Crazy how the rules are so different from place to place. That is not how it goes here.
No.
No, definitely not. I've had them show up for an inspection and walk in and tell me that I wasn't ready, and tell me to call back when I was. They gave me an idea of what it was I needed, but I was not ready for the inspection as far as they were concerned. So they are definitely sticklers on the inspection.
And then,
George Ramirez says our plan was to try to use cash, but the
yeah.
current situation of cost building material cost already pushed my build past our budget. Oh, absolutely. It has been tough. When we started, we would go I would go to the store. We have a 16-foot trailer. I would load it with building materials, and it was usually a pretty basic amount of sheet goods and dimensional lumber. Plus, we'd have a few other things on there, and I would be spending about $400 to $500. that same amount of material not long after COVID hit. That same amount of material was running me about $1,300. It would go anywhere from $1,100 to $1,300, and that's an eye opening thing when you get up there and you're expecting it to be about $400 or $500 just based on prior experience. Because I went in not thinking about how much of an increase there was. I noticed some things because I noticed sheet goods going up, but I didn't notice how much the dimensional lumber had gone up. So, that's a big deal, especially like if you're cash flowing a build, you might
Yeah.
not even have that money.
Well, we
Yeah,
didn't.
and we ran out. I mean, that's
We
what
did.
happened. We had a budget. We had money from a
And we
house that we
broke it.
sold, and we broke that budget.
But we're almost there. We're getting there.
We're getting
So
there.
just have to try to stay in budget. The orchard, baby.
Joan Shepard said, "I love the way you close one eye when checking to see if the
Oh,
camera
Joan.
is in focus."
Joan, I read all your comments. Thank you for being here.
So B Newton says, "I know your apple orchard is in infancy, but
Yeah.
what do you have planned other than maybe pies? Cider, maybe? Yes, we are planning on making hard cider. That is our plan. That has been the big motivator the whole time, and it's just getting there. It's been.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to have, we were going to be selling cider by now. I figured we'd be in our second year. She did not, and she
No,
was
because
right.
apple trees don't really produce until the 4th or 5th year,
Yeah.
and even that production is not going to be what you get later down the road.
And it's a lot
Yeah.
harder than I thought it was. I mean,
Yep.
those trees do not give you the fruit. You've got to work for that fruit.
They don't.
You definitely got to work for it.
But out the front, we want to do trellises, apple trees on
Yes.
trellises, actually, and those
Down below the
grow.
house.
It's going to be the same amount of time, probably 4 to 5 years before we get any fruit from them. But I think it's going to look really cool, and we need more apple trees if we're going to produce cider.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
we've got to do that too.
Route 3 Box 6 Texas said, "Since y'all have the orchard, did you apply for low interest loans for vets in agriculture?" So we we already had the land before we started with the apples, and it was just the way I got the land loan was I went to the owners. It was the person who had owned it before died, and it was in a trust, and I was able to get them to help finance it. So that was the way we went with that. So Phil Schreiber says, "Do you know of any insurance benefits that come from using hardy siding? We are building in the forest and hoping it will be considered in their FireWise program."
That's cool.
Some places do, and I think it's a totality of all the building materials you're using, but that probably changes from place to place and from company to company.
So that was one of the concerns or the reasons to do the hardy board is because of fire.
Yeah.
Because we're in the foot of the Shenandoah Mountains, and just if there was a fire, it would go right through. So it was a huge consideration.
Monterey 1952 says, "Hello from Monterey, Mexico.
Aww.
Love your channel. Warm regards." Thank you. Really appreciate it.
To our neighbors in Mexico. Hello.
Let's see. Route 3 Box 6 Texas says, "Phil, I put hardy board on my wood-sided house. It's now considered masonry." Well, there you go.
Very cool.
Very good.
Yeah.
Randy Gray, "Where did you buy your SIPS panels? And I'm sure there's more of this question, but I'll wait for
Joe, hello.
So,
hi.
Hey, Joe. So we bought from Acme Panel, which is here in Virginia. And I wanted to buy local for two reasons. One, I wanted to support a Virginia company. And the other one was shipping. We didn't want it to have to be shipped too far.
Oh, and I love Fifth Journey's idea. Need to get some honeybees and make apple mead.
Called apple cider.
It's good stuff, and the bees will help pollinate the trees. It's true. We've had bees for about 7 years now. Will help if I can. It's
Awesome. I may have
another
questions on
project.
that. Yeah.
Another project to do.
Another project. I'm not sure I want to. I don't know how I would feel about being in a beekeeper suit.
So
We'll
attractive,
find
though.
out about that.
So hot.
So the pollinators that we have here naturally, we've got how many dozen different types of bees?
There's a lot of
We have
bees.
lots of bees, lots of mason bees, lots of different pollinators. So we've been really fortunate as far as that goes. And I know that there are honeybees. I don't know who has them.
But they come over. The honeybees.
Yeah, the
come over.
honeybees definitely come over, especially when there's any flowering in the fields. From if we have buckwheat in the fields, trying to get some nutrition into the soil. But
Nutrients. Yep.
yeah, anything like that,
Nitrogen.
you're going to have they're swarming the fields.
Yep.
And
The mason bees, I'd like to encourage them
yeah,
more.
mason bees are really cool. Randy Gray says, do you wish that you had bought SIPs with splines and stalls? Oh God, yes. Yeah,
Yes.
I would. So for that
God.
reason, when people ask me, would you use the same company? That company does not do SIPs with the splines installed. And so, no, I wouldn't. And that's the only reason. I think they've been fine otherwise. But the splines took easily as much time putting those in as probably more than assembly. So if they'd have shown up with those in, yes, it would have cost more money, but the amount of time you would save would be phenomenal.
Yeah, and maybe in the end it wouldn't have cost more money by paying for the wood.
Yeah,
So
that's true. I mean,
just,
you had to buy the wood and everything to go in
time.
it, but the time is the
money.
killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and it was a lot of work. Yeah. She just told me it's time to wrap it up. So we've been going on for about an hour now, and she's hungry. So we're gonna go get some dinner. I hope everybody out there stays safe. If you're in the storm, stay safe and warm. I hope power holds up for everyone.
Yeah.
And we will be back out on the build. I've actually got another video. I'm probably going to drop it tomorrow morning, but that one is basically just me playing with the new tractor. So we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for stopping by. Good night.
Bye. Did you stop it?
Stopping right now. There we go.